Well, and welcome to the Sorare Data Show. I'm Andrew Laird. You can find me as Lairdinho on Sorare. Joined today by everybody's voice of reason, Ryan Haber. Haber, what's
First
up?
time for everything, isn't it? First time. Last time as well.
We'll see. Hey, this could be the changing of the guard here. But all of a sudden, everyone's like, we need some reasoned, well thought out takes, and we just go to Ryan Haber for that.
I don't think that's going to catch on, Laird. That's not going to stick. In fact, I was going to say this to you before the show, and I waited for now because I just find it hilarious that I got called the voice of reason. Because I got a DM like 2 weeks ago from someone saying, they said something like, do you just not enjoy being on the ramble? Because you seem to just call us the F word a lot. And I was just like, yeah, maybe I'm a little bit overzealous.
So I had to have you on today because during my stream on Friday, somebody was like, hey, did you hear what Haber said? And I hadn't yet. And I was actually on a walk listening to it. And I was like, I'm going to send you a message. And I was like, do I send it? Do we just do it on Twitter and have like a public spat about this? And I was like, maybe I'll do it on Discord and we can just like hash it out. And I'm like, both of us talk in front of cameras all the time. Why would we not just have this conversation in front of the camera? So thank you for very fairly quick notice coming on to be the front man for Essence.
What could go wrong? Just like talking about something on camera live where what you say is then just gospel and you can't take it back or change your opinion. Nothing's going to go wrong here.
Can't happen. I'm going to start off a quick question here because Sorare Turkey said, and thank you from the Mr. Laird Haber, 2 stars, 1 show. Do you think this is a better collaboration than Harry Redknapp and Sorare?
Oh, that's good. That's that. Yeah. Oh, I don't know. That's an interesting one. Harry Redknapp's a weird one, isn't it? What a like random person to get involved.
So I agree, and I loved it. It was, I don't know why, but I watched it and I was just like, I'm in. I'm gonna play Rivals.
I haven't even watched it yet. I'm not gonna lie, I've not stopped all day. But like, I'm just very, very like, I just saw it. I thought like, of all people, do you know, like you could have got anyone. Harry Redknapp just does not seem like the person I would have expected, but I don't mind it because he's a really funny guy.
So I don't really know that about him, but it comes off in the video. It was great. It was great. I'm not going to lie. It like totally turned my day.
That's called marketing, baby. Shout out Sorare for the marketing, baby.
Like,
Woo!
we thought we had to like jump on the Mbappe coattails, but Harry Redknapp had it all along. Anyway, thanks everyone for coming in. Hatlogen is first in. Man, it's tough to keep up with the new generation's lingo, which is basically Haber's lingo. Like, what's the deal with Skibbity, Riz, and Essence Capsule? I don't think that was the one of them. Risu and Sorare Juju on the podium. Thanks everyone for coming in. Who else we got? Packus, Tuggy, Bob Franklin, Mike Bastin. So all these people very excited that you're here. Looking for food. How do you feel about this? Jonathan B, it's coming home.
Oh, we say that every year, but I feel like every year our squad gets better. Even though it's kind of like the exact same squad as last time, it just like we've got Kobe Mainu now, like it's just another young talent that's come out of nowhere and he's great. And it's like, but I don't know. Who knows?
I mean, it's got to be nice going into a tournament as a favorite instead of just somebody who's there.
Do you know what? I actually don't think it is. I think I don't like the pressure. I think it's got to a point now. The whole coming home thing is like a joke, right? We're such an incredibly sarcastic nation that like the whole idea of this song is that we're not going to win, but we're going to act like we're going to win every year, even though we know we're not going to win.
I think a lot of people believe it, Ryan.
They do. Like, there's definitely this belief now. Back when that song came out, there wasn't belief. I mean, we had the golden generation of people, and like, you know, we were never going to win anything. The camp was never like it is now, and because I think that the players like each other now and stuff like that.
Just about to say that. Yep.
It feels a lot more like it's possible, and the fact that we got to a final, then a semi-final, it's like it does feel like it's more possible now. But there's also this like immense pressure now that we kind of have to perform rather than. Like and you know, I like that the UK comes together for it, but I feel like everyone else around us just hate us because we're constantly singing It's Coming Home, and they take it literally, and we're just like, yeah, sorry guys. And also we do have a reputation of going to other countries and getting drunk and starting fights, and yeah.
Not to this is going to come off like I'm rubbing it in, but I promise I'm not. But the It's Coming Rome might have been one of the funniest jokes at It's Coming Home, because it really doesn't make any sense. It's Coming Rome makes no sense whatsoever, but
that was bad. But you know what? The only reason the thing that made that better is that Italy then didn't qualify for the World Cup right after winning the Euros. They got knocked out by North Macedonia, so it kind of softened the blow a little bit that they then lost and didn't make the World Cup. That made it a little bit sweeter, I guess.
All right. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Let's see. Let me see. Deeks here. Surface. Good evening to Nixon as well. Mike Batson said this could also be the end of a current universe and the start of an alternate one. That's with, I assume, about you being the lawyer. I just can't speak today. Anyway. Hello to everyone else who's here. Hey, Bert. So I spent basically all of last week talking about Essence and why I thought it didn't fit. And a lot of the things that I said came off like I was making fun of it, which was true. And then I listened to the latest episode of the Sorare Ramble, and you were like a total 180 from where I was, which is fine. But I wanted to talk about, because there was a line that you said that was like, basically Sorare has to gamify what we have in order to basically convince new people to keep playing. Let's just go into that part first, because I do have 100 follow-up questions to that. But what is it that, is it that the game right now is just boring and we need to make it more exciting, and gamifying does that? Or what's the point of gamifying it?
Well, my point was kind of, this game, this platform's been going for 4 or 5 years now, right? We've had ups and downs, and I've been involved now for probably about 2.5, nearly 3 years.
Sorry, I would say we had one up.
Yes.
And downs.
That was a big up, though.
It was a big up, yeah.
And trust me, I know, because I got it at the very top, baby. That was, for me, it was like a roller coaster, but I didn't get the whole slow up. I just went, yeah, bang, okay. Life savings gone. So, we've had ups and downs, and throughout the last 2.5, 3 years of me being on this platform, the one thing that has always been said is we need to market more. Sorare need to market the game more. They're doing a bad job of marketing. It kind of dawned on me about a year ago that this game is maybe a little too niche in its current state to mass market, because they've done huge campaigns. The World Cup campaign was massive. Numbers-wise, their reach during that campaign was in the tens of millions. They reached an insanely large number of people. I know through my own things, because I've done campaigns with Sorare, and I know numbers-wise that I've reached, and then I can multiply that by X amount to the people that they also work with. They've ran multiple campaigns like that. I mean, they have deals with the Premier League to be on their official pages, and they're getting hundreds of thousands, millions of views at a time. I know John Nellis is putting out stuff all the time, and it's getting millions of views. They market this game a lot. They do a lot of marketing, but the way that the game has been, it's too niche to be able to be adaptable to a lot of people. So I think by going down the route of gamifying it, although to us long-term players, it may not make a huge amount of sense, seeing words like Essence and more gimmicky things being added to the platform, because we've been around for a long time and we've seen this platform stay relatively similar for years. It makes a lot more sense trying to sort of grab a new audience, because ultimately it hasn't worked. The last few years, the marketing stuff, it's not been working, and the proof is in the pudding there. And whilst the game is growing, I see there's a Twitter account that always posts new users and stuff like that, and they sometimes tweak it to make it look really bad on Sorare as well. But the game is growing. The game is absolutely growing still, but it's not growing at the rate that they're paying for marketing and pushing out large marketing campaigns. So I think adding in things gradually that gamify the game, but also will make sense to people that play games and other fantasy sports games that maybe aren't like Sorare or other NFT projects. Like, to them, these sort of things might make more sense than a 3 or 4 page blog post that is just words on paper and incredibly difficult to read if you are like me and not smart or find it difficult to focus for a long period of time. So I don't know. I think these sort of things definitely help with making it a bit more mainstream and adaptable to a larger audience than what we have right now.
So I completely appreciate that. And I think that the part where I feel like it misses the mark is the total separation from football. And not to say that, and I don't want to pretend like Sorare, MLB, and NBA don't exist, but for all intents and purposes, with Sorare marketing, they don't exist. Like, I don't think it matters. And so if we could at least agree that we don't need to worry about that. Everything we're saying is about football because it's by far the biggest product. Yeah. And there's that. And so I said this to a few people. I wish I had listened to the ramble before I spoke on Friday, because I feel like I'm going to start saying the same thing, but more in a reactive sense. But when you were you kind of made the point, which actually was exactly counter to what I said on Friday, that it felt like I was making the point that if you have an idea for your game, like something that's going in, like this progress bar, that you're complicating the game by calling it something else and basically requiring people to be like, so what is essence? And you're like, well, you go and then you go through the whole thing. And my argument was essentially just call it what it is. And you had said days earlier, apparently, essentially that's boring. And people are not going to be excited about that. And the whole point of something like this, of gamifying it, is getting people excited. And that's when I was on my walk listening and I was like, shit, that's a really good point. But what I can't get over is the total separation from football, and I don't know what the solution is. And I feel like I hate when people do that. They're like, that sucks. And you're like, what would you do? And they're like, something better. But that's exactly what I'm doing. But it feels like we are gamifying it to get this other audience that once we get them and they're like, oh, that's a cool concept. And we're like, yeah. And then you play fantasy football and they're like, what? I don't want to do that. And you're less like, no, that's the game. And they're like, no, the game is essence. And you're like, mm-mm. And why does it have to be so separated from a football game that we're playing?
I don't think it is I don't think it needs to be relevant to football though. Because so what it is a way for you to create cards out of nothing, right? And I think in the API there's shards or something like that, right? Or there's something where we thought that was going to be this, you sort of collect shards and craft a card that way or something. And I spoke to a couple of people where they said that's what they thought this was, or I think you said it on the Friday show actually. That's what you thought this was. And that's not relative to football either. I don't think it has to be relevant to football because ultimately it isn't it's not part of the actual game itself. It has no impact on the actual game itself. It is completely separate within Sorare. It's a completely different aspect of Sorare. And I've said for a while, I think what Sorare wants is a platform with multiple different intricate parts of it that are going to keep you on the platform for longer. I think the fitness center was the first design that they had in mind that would keep people on the platform longer. You had to go in and put your cards in the fitness center and they generate fitness and you can play them on 10% again. And this is another one where you're going into the factory or whatever it's called and you're going and using your essence to create another card. I think they want to have multiple different sort of facets of the game where you're in the platform for longer, and that appeals to more than just the hardcore audience. But I don't think it needed to be anything to do with football. I personally don't see an issue with it being completely irrelevant and sort of away from football, because ultimately at the end of the day it's just an external part of the game, right? It has nothing to do with football itself. You're just crafting cards. And I think by calling it something like Essence, it's more of a fun way to I also don't think it makes it more complex either. I don't think it's more complicated. I think if you explain what Essence is, people get it pretty quickly. So I just think it's a nice external third party thing, and that's why I don't think it has to be necessarily relevant to the game.
So my counter to that, and maybe I was too small in saying it needed to be about football, because I think the idea of like shards, like pieces of a card to create a card, and like the cards themselves are a big part of the platform. And so doing something that I think on the surface makes sense, you put pieces of a card together. Like I still think that is enough of a bridge between this new part of the game, which I would also argue you were like, you don't like have to participate in that part of the game. But the other part is you can't only do that. Like you can't only play for essence or whatever. Like odds are you're actually not getting essence. You're getting these other things that you then have to deal with. So I'm just old, and I'm struggling to accept that like the complete differentiation from what's on the platform is of net benefit in terms of like getting people interested in joining the platform.
So I don't think that this is something that's by design to try and get more people to join the platform, though. I actually think that this is actually more so designed to have more people play that are already playing to sort of make them play more or get more lineups. Because at this point, like this to me has made me want to play more Classic next season than I was playing before. Before I was simply just in season everything. I want to play in season. I want to win money. Now I'm like, well, you can win cards in Classic, but also I can win this stuff. And I think so. Whilst I think almost everyone's reaction to anything new in the game is thinking about new users and how it can bring in new people or what new users are going to think about it. I don't think this really is something that's targeted towards new users. And I think that's why they've not pushed this in any kind of marketing campaign, because ultimately that isn't what it is. I think it's more so for current users. I think what they want to do is they want to build a really nice, stable reward box mechanic. And this helps towards that for the current users. And if new users come in and then learn about Essence, that's great. But I don't think they're going to push Essence as the first thing to anyone new on the platform.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, that's entirely fair. I apologize. I've been ignoring the chat here. Mike said, are non-football gamers going to come to this more than football fans? Or so we're going away from wanting to be the biggest fantasy football platform to just a fantasy platform. I think you kind of touched on that just now. Like, I don't think this is meant to bring in people completely unrelated to football and convincing them to play a fantasy football game. But
yeah, exactly. And also, like, I think to look at Sorare as just being the biggest fantasy football platform is definitely a little bit maybe naive. I mean, that obviously, whilst MLB and NBA are nowhere near the size of the football game, it's clear they want to have a large fantasy platform rather than just a fantasy football platform. And I also think they want to try and keep up with the times, because this is the other thing I didn't mention this on the ramble, but it's also something I thought about. Like, a lot of people that play this game are crypto heads. Like, a lot of people got into this game because it's a crypto platform and you can use Ethereum and that sort of stuff. Like, I've spoken to so many people through Discord and stuff that have like .eth in their name and stuff. And in their profile picture, they'll have like an NFT they've bought. Like, these people are out here buying monkey NFTs. Like, their heads, it's a monkey head with a cigar in its mouth and stuff like that. And we're acting like this is the most immature thing we've seen in this space. Like, people will go out and buy a fire truck with hot dog for wheels and it will be worth about $20,000. And we're upset because we can fake craft fake cards with fake essence. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, I don't think it's the most immature thing in the world to ever have been put into this kind of category of space.
I was going to say, I don't think that's like a fair comparison, but they're certainly in the same space at some point. So I'll just let you have it. I think, and I'll just kind of summarize some of the chat, but it feels like the further kind of, I guess, negative sentiment is that it's just adding complexity. And I agree with you that like once you explain it, it's fairly simple. It's more the whether the story is necessary. And I think that's kind of the pushback of the concept is simple. It's one that we've been talking about for years would be a good idea, and they're doing it. And it feels like I said that 100 times last week, and everyone's like, I can't believe you think it's a bad idea. So like, I think this is a great idea, but and maybe see, like, I was gonna say like, maybe because it's just new, but I love new things. I love change. And so like this idea that it's like, it just doesn't feel, I mean, it's so stupid because I keep just going back to that. And maybe I'm just one of these people like Misaki says, because I'm just a boring fucker who doesn't understand what the product, that the product still has to market itself as a game. And this is just the game we have to play.
You just made Laird say the F word on the show. Like, that's bad. I've not even sworn on the show yet. Maybe I am the voice of reason. Oh my God.
It's the changing of the guard right here.
It's changing. Yeah. I see it a little bit in the sense, and I like, obviously I'm a bit younger than you, and a lot from my experience, most of the people that seem to have not an issue with this, but have critiqued it, do seem to be of the older generation, right? Or at least, you know, older than me. Like, you're not like, I don't think 30 and 40-year-olds are old, right? But like older than me. And I look at it in a similar way that when I've tried to explain Sorare to my dad, who's 63 years old, he grasps the concept, but I have to re-explain it to him every time I talk to him about it. Like I ring him every day and I told him, oh, I won a division this weekend, or oh, I won a signed shirt and stuff like that. And then like, he knows what Sorare is, and he knows the name, and he knows it's a company I've worked with and stuff like that. But I have to re-explain the concept to him. But every time he does still get it. And I think there's something there where it's like, I think when something's like this and it's a complete maybe unknown in a certain space like that, I think it's just repetition before it finally becomes a normal thing. And I think within even a few weeks of it being in the game, I don't think it'll even sound alien. I think people will be, I think you'd be like, oh, I won, 30 essence this week. You know what I mean? Like, or whatever, however it's kind of like, I don't know how it's going to work, but yeah. I just think at the moment, because it's so foreign, I think it seems a lot more emphasized at how foreign it is right now than what it really is. I don't think it's actually that foreign to the game, but because we've never seen anything this different from Sorare, it definitely feels a lot more foreign than it actually is, I think.
I was going to harp on the fact that you literally are like, it's so foreign from what from what we know.
Yeah,
like,
it is.
That's the whole point.
Yeah.
Like, that's my whole point, is that it's so foreign and seems to have no connection to anything that's on the platform, that if you are going to do this sort of shard progress bar thing, why not just have something that has a connection to the platform?
Because like I said, it's boring, right?
You that's fair. That's totally fair.
A little bar at the bottom that says, all right, I'm this far away from a card. I'm falling asleep thinking about it.
But you know that you're going to have an essence bar.
Yeah, but like it's a different color, and you think about what it tastes like. Like, what does essence smell like? I almost bought a lab coat and little like flasks
beakers
and stuff. Yeah, I almost bought all that just for a little bit of a meme. Like, I think it's just a bit more fun. It's something different, but it also opens doors, because Sorare 1,000,000% going to add in more features to this game that are probably more foreign than Essence, that maybe make even less sense in the future. Because I think that's the sort of route we're going down, and I don't think they'll ever add anything that sort of compromises the core competency of the platform. But I think that we're going to get different things in. I think this is like the opening door, and we'll get more stuff in, because I really do believe they want to build something on the platform that is going to keep people engaged for longer on the platform. So I think maybe in a year's time, we're looking back and thinking, shit, Essence wasn't that bad. Like, bring that back. I want to go back to when it was just Essence. Now we've got freaking, now we've got like candy bars and shit. Like, I'm feeding Mbappe a Twix, and he's scoring 2 goals a game now. Every goal's doubled and shit, like.
Full disclosure, I had like beakers in my Amazon cart and I decided not to buy them before the show last week. Anyway, ZM Star says, "Fuck Mbappe, I want hot dog wheels now," which I couldn't let go. So what's funny about this? So Nanzo says he 100% agrees with you. If you think Essence is bad, you haven't been down many NFT rabbit holes. So aren't we trying to get away from the fact that Sorare's NFTs in crypto? Like, isn't this very clear that we want nothing to do with that anymore?
Oh yeah, for sure. I just use that as an example because there's a lot of people on the platform that are heavily involved in crypto and NFTs and whatnot. So it's definitely not the most wild thing they've ever seen. I don't think this has any relation to NFTs whatsoever, realistically.
I don't know. It feels like everybody's like, no, crafting's a big NFT thing. And it's like, I thought we moved on.
Well, crafting's a big thing in a lot of things. I mean, in EAFC 24, you can craft a card with 11 different cards, right? Like through what's called a squad building challenge. Like, there's a lot of different platforms that have some kind of crafting element to it. And I think that might also be why they've gone down this Essence route, because there's probably a lot of games that have patented some form of crafting mechanism and with a name or something like that. Like there's probably a lot of different names that are already patented. That's why maybe they've gone down this route rather than something else. That's speculation. I've absolutely no idea. I'm just speculating.
So I meant to say this before. Black Hair saying that you're putting the olds on notice. I feel like I don't remember where you said it, but I talked about how you said this, that there are a lot of people my age that like still play FIFA and all these games. And it's not like we get to a point where they're like, oh, I'm too old for that. Like my generation definitely still watches you play, watches all your videos because they're interested in that shit and they spend their money on it. And I'm not as familiar with EAFC and FIFA before that. Do they have things in their game that are as different to the game than Essence is to what we have on Sorare? That's a genuine question. Like, I don't know if
we have cards in our game where the image for the card is not the image of the player. It's a cartoon image of them as a Marvel superhero. I'm not kidding. So we have that's
where we're going.
They're called hero cards, and they've collabed with Marvel. So like Yaya Toure, for example. What I'll do is I'll find.
I absolutely love Yaya Toure.
Baller. I'll find the picture for you so you can sort of see it. Like it's quite funny actually, but I think it looks really cool. And hang on, you have to bear with me. I need to actually find these now because I don't know what the best platform to find them in. But I mean, you can take my word for it. It's like they're called sort of EA Marvel heroes, I guess. I'll send you a link on Discord to it so you can sort of see what his picture looks like. Here you go.
Ben said, imagine if the reason they can guarantee cards before the season starts is because we're getting cartoon cards.
I've given them an idea now, haven't I? I've given them an idea. But the cards look really cool. Like so there's a few different things that like that in the game in sort of FC 24. I mean, the biggest thing, and it's related to football, but the one of the most controversial things this year in FC 24 is that they added women to the game. So you can play a full team that's mixed male and female footballers, but their ratings are relative to their respective games. So the best women's player is the same rating as the best men's player. Yeah, that caused a lot of upset.
I'm sure that went over just fine.
Yeah, and that caused a lot of upset. People were like, well, Virgil van Dijk versus Lauren James, he's like twice her size and 3 times her weight, but she's got the same strength stat or something. So it's like, yeah, that didn't go down well. So there's definitely a lot of stuff in FC 24 and previous FIFAs that are foreign to the game, I guess.
What do you think about this comment from Glenn that the gamification of Sorare will allow more microtransactions?
I've said, me and Nepo spoke to this.
I was going to say, I think that's, yeah.
I think microtransactions in Sorare is not a bad thing at all. In fact, I think it would be quite beneficial to Sorare if there was a second revenue source in the game. I think that's what fitness was supposed to add.
A
new revenue source. So I think it would be quite beneficial to Sorare to have microtransactions. I would personally happily pay to have some of my favorite cards have little borders around them. Like if I win a card, I'd happily pay 50p a pound to have like a little gold border around it. So people just know, even though people aren't even going to see it because people don't really check the leaderboards these days, but like just for me to see it, I can just see, oh, he's got a little gold thing around him. Like, you know, I won an Arango and he scored from the halfway line in the first game after I won him. Like I would pay to just have some like ball on fire on his card or something. You know what I mean? Like just something silly like that, but something fun. As long as it doesn't impact the game, the actual gameplay, got no issue. Because, you know, unless they've thought about, like fitness, they've thought about it, they've run numbers and stuff like that. I think that probably would have worked, even though there was a lot of mass outrage. I honestly think fitness was actually probably them preparing us for what the game's like now. Like, I don't think there'd be nearly as many, I got 400 points and didn't win a reward tweets if we had fitness, you know, a year ago, because people would be used to what scores are like nowadays. So I didn't have a problem with that. I think anything that doesn't impact the game, that's fine. If it impacts the core gameplay, like fucking Sorare mega boots and stuff like that, is dumb. Like I think Mark Alele was talking about that in the in one of our discords, and yeah, I agree with him. It's stupid. I think little things that impact the gameplay like that, I think is really dumb, because then like, I don't know, you're opening up a whole can of worms. But if it doesn't impact the game and it's just like a visual change, I'd pay for it.
I think I'm struggling to think that like Essence doesn't impact the game, because it's like it's another reward that we're winning. They basically turn into cards. Like, why doesn't that doesn't impact scores, I guess?
Yeah, I mean actual gameplay, right? Like if I put out a Harry Kane card and he scores 100 points, that I just, as long as that doesn't change how that works, that lineup's now got 100 points. I mean, like the boxes, you can then consider a game changer because you can win cards in those, right? Like I actually don't think it will really be much different from winning a card or winning Essence and crafting a card. I think it'd be a very similar sort of trade-off. I imagine like the percentages to win cards might go down a little bit with Essence in boxes now. That they'll maybe take up a bit of percentage of that, and then they probably take cards from boxes to put in the Essence crafter or whatever. I was talking like maybe this is something for next week when we've accepted Essence as a part of the furniture. But like, there's going to be strategies to it, right? Like, if you can save up your Essence and get multiple in-season cards at the start of a season, you could be absolutely flying the first few game weeks and win more than if you were to just make one card and sell it, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there are a lot of different ways they can go about it. And I feel like we tried to talk about it at least last week with MPen and Peter, that like it's easy for champions, because if it's like a seasonal thing, or if, you know, Essence has like an expiration date, like, you know, that if you saved up, you can get in-season cards at the beginning of the season, or the opposite, you have to spend it by a certain amount. And then if you realize I'm not going to be able to get to a star before the end of the season, so I'll take the tier 2 now or whatever. Like, I think there are plenty of strategy elements that go with it. Challenger and Contender make it much more difficult because they're like year-round competitions, basically. Yeah. But yeah, no, I think it'll be a fun. It's just another strategical point to it that, like you said, it'll become part of the furniture. I'm giving it till Wednesday, not even 2 days from now, maybe even tomorrow. How about that? Maybe the end of the show.
Andrews on Thursday is going to be, how do we make the most of Essence with pineapple chopping? Yeah.
Vita said fitness was a very different approach, but maybe it'll come back. Can't wait to have a factory, a fitness center, a training center, and a town hall for my city. I mean, I said it myself, SimCity was a great game. What was your opinion on fitness at the time?
I can't exactly remember. So if someone goes and finds quotes and I'm like lying, apologies. Yeah.
Let's just pretend.
I'm pretty sure I didn't have a big issue with it. Like, I thought, maybe it's naive, but I'm very trusting of the people in charge to do the right thing or make the right choices. Like, I don't think Sorare would make a choice that would kill their game. There's just so much money on the line. There should be too many smart people at that company to be able to put through a change like that. So usually when they make a change like this, I'm just quite trusting and I'm quite open-minded about it. So I was pretty similar with fitness. I actually remember saying, at the time that this is just like, this is going to show people what scores are going to be like in the future. Because obviously, like, you're going to keep getting cards and whatnot. Scores are naturally going to go up. But no, I'm pretty sure I said the reaction was a little bit silly and a little bit unnecessary. I think
there's some great revisionist history about fitness that I'm fairly certain I was like negative on it. And I think the reason I was negative on it was less about the actual concept of fitness and more that it just felt overpowered, that they had just announced collections like a few weeks or months before. And it was like, oh, you can get up to 5% more, but fitness is 10%. And you're just like, wow, that seems like a lot for just something else. And like, that was the pushback on it. But obviously like there was enough of a pushback that they were like, all right, never mind. And I'm not here to like start that campaign for Essence, mostly because I think it makes a ton of sense. Like, I think it's a really interesting part of the game.
Ton essence.
And what's that?
Makes a ton essence. Ton of sense, ton essence. I'm here all week, guys. Do you know, I think Sorare walking back the fitness update was one of the biggest mistakes they've made, because now any change they make before anyone even digests it is met with instant rage and pitchforks. And I think people subconsciously are hoping that they can just make them walk back another change. It's always unnecessary as well. Like, I feel like that's now the first reaction to everything. And then it's like, oh, wait, okay, maybe that's not too bad. Because we forget that what flavor essence? You got rare essence there.
What's that?
What flavor essence you drinking there? Is it rare?
Yeah, rare.
Oh, damn, you almost got a card there. So I think like the other problem they have is that they do announcements of announcements, right? So we don't actually know how things work. So that's the other reason why I think when I see people outraged by certain changes, and I'm just like, you don't even know how this works yet. What are you possibly angry about? Like, what? Like, until you know how it changes, how change affects the game, I don't understand how, unless, like, I understand criticism of calling it essence. Like, although I disagree, I do understand your point of view. But for people saying it's a bad thing in the game makes no sense to me, because you don't even know how it works.
What's funny is I have no idea how it works, and I actually think it's a really good thing for the game.
Me too.
So we just need the details, and then we can moan about.
Exactly. What if they bring out the details and it's like the most dog shit thing ever? We hate it. I'm just at 180. I'm going to join you, mate. Fuck essence.
I think the only way that was going to be very dangerous. I was like, the only way it could be bad, but there are so many ways it could be bad. But it's a very like tight line that they have to stand on, of like not making it so hard that it's a complete afterthought, where you're just like, oh yeah, you need to win 100 essence capsules for to get a star. And it's like, that's a lot. And it's so many that most people are just going to be like, all right, it's like, it'll feel like coins, where you're just like, okay, I've got more coins and I have this thing that I can basically never get. But then obviously if it's too easy, like Nanzo loves it. Like Nanzo's all in on Essence because he knows he's going to win a ton of it, and it's just going to give him closer to stars. And so he's like, yeah, Essence is great. But like, you have to make it achievable for people while also not making it too hard or too easy.
Yeah, I think I actually hope it's going to be really difficult to craft cards, because if they make it too easy, it can impact the market negatively as well. If they're just adding in new supply, and also if they make it too easy, like at the moment, like a star rare, for example, I don't know. Let's use Flodian Verts, for example, right? Just because he's on my other monitor. He's about 600-ish pounds roughly. That's what that card is worth in like GBP fiat. I don't know what that's in ETH, but maybe like 0.2, or I don't even know what ETH is these days. But he's worth about 600 pounds. If you can craft Flodian Verts and then sell it for 600 pounds, right? Theoretically, that should take you a long time to get to, because that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money that's Sorare then missing out on, because you're not buying a Flodian Verts. Yes, they get the 5% if you sell it to someone else, but then also like you got to find someone that wants to buy a Florian Verts from you after one's just been made out of nothing as well, because it then like they've obviously got the amount they mint and the amount they give out in reward. So they've got some kind of analytics that show they're minting at the right pace. Like, although they will figure out like, okay, you know, we're going to do it at a rate so that the average person can get a star in X amount of time, they won't be able to accurately predict when you redeem that star. So there's just going to be a new card out of nothing. And if like 5 people create a new card out of nothing, like it can have a serious detriment to the market if by chance it's the same card, or if you can choose a card or whatever. So it's going to be interesting.
I think it gets even further complicated by the fact that I think there's an expectation. I hope most people assume this, that a lot of the new season cards are sold like very early on. Like they're going to be selling them early in the season. And so the cards that you can craft are coming from the reward pool. And so, yeah, it all depends on like when people are going to, what is the verb you use for essence? Redeem, use?
Pour?
Okay. So when we have no idea when people are going to pour their essence for a new card. And so I was going to use whatever you said. So thank you for making it at least somewhat reasonable. Is like, it's a humongous balancing act once they basically sell their allotted cards. And then the only new cards that come out are either rewards or cards that are crafted. And yeah, who knows when they'll come.
Yeah. And you got to think about it where it's like, you can only get boxes from Classic, and you also have to get into a certain point to get boxes from Classic. I don't know what percentage is going to be of essence, but it's not going to be 100%. We think, I assume by the wording it's not going to be 100%. You're not going to get it like as well as the box or something. I don't know.
It's in the box.
Yeah. So it's an item. So like whatever percentage it is, right?
Right.
Like,
yeah. Who knows? So
if you won 3 boxes a week, you might not even get any essence for 5 weeks, 10 weeks, 15 weeks. So yeah, I'm hoping that I trust Sorare. I think they'll get it right. I think.
Surface said, this is what I've been saying. It's going to take a long time for even whales to be able to craft anything tier 1 or above. And Namza said, I'm actually indifferent to essence, reward boxes, coins, and all that jazz. I just don't think it's a big enough deal to make a fuss about. I mean, are you guys not in an international break? Like, this is what we have to do during international breaks. Anyway, KB says, it's smart by Sorare. Those things make players believe that it's possible to win good stuff and keeping them engaged. It's pretty minuscule to the game, but the perception of it is what benefits Sorare. Yeah, makes sense.
It's a benefit super rare. They haven't done shit to benefit super rare in a long time.
You don't even... do you even have super rares anymore?
I have a few left.
All right. We don't need you dogging super rares now that you got out.
I have a lot more than I realized. I've sold quite a lot. I've sold more than I was expecting to sell, right? And I went and looked at my gallery, and I still have 39 left. And I was like, I think I've only sold about 10, but it felt like I sold loads. And I was like, oh, I still have a long way to go here. Shit.
The worst part, I'm guessing, I haven't seen which ones, but you probably sold like the 10 best ones, or at least like the 10 most liquid, and you're like, this is easy. And then you have to get to the other ones, and you're just like, oh.
It's exactly what happened, lad. That is exactly what's happened, and it's not fun.
Yeah. I went through that exercise of trying to sell some super rares recently, and I just remember being like, surely I won this. And I'm like, I paid how much for that? There was a time in my life where I thought that was what... It's a dangerous game. KB says, nobody's going to buy super rares on auctions with the possibility of crafting one. I think you need to get enough super rare essence, though, and you need to buy super rares to play in contests to win essence. So I assume people are going to buy super rare stuff.
I think with a lot of things on this game, super rare will be one of the worst implementations for essence, I think. Like, it's going to be difficult to get essence, and then you're going to redeem what you think is a tier 1 super rare and get some dog shit backup goalkeeper that in reality is like a tier 3, but one time he sold for like 0.8 ETH. So they think that's a tier 1. And they're like, yep, 8 years ago when he played that one game, some idiot paid 0.8 ETH for him that at the time was worth $95. But Still 0.8 ETH.
I think one of the byproducts of Essence and allowing people to craft cards is that they really need to tighten up the reward pool for just that reason, that you spend months accumulating Essence and then you finally pour it out and you get a terrible card.
So the way I read it, it said something like, I can't exactly remember the wording, but it said something like gain Essence and craft a card for your collection. Now, in my head, the way I read that is you have some kind of choice in the matter, right? Because I don't have an FC Barcelona collection if you're about to, spew out a Cancelo at me, for example, or I don't have a whatever collection, like a Spurs collection, if I'm about to get a Heung-min Son or something, if I redeem like a tier 1, right? But I have a Man United collection, so there's a Bruno Fernandes in the pool. Can I have that? Like, that's the way I read it. But I also don't understand how that's going to work, because surely people are just going to build the most expensive collections you can just to get the most expensive cards out of it. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think I mentioned on Tuesday, because Peter said that same thing. And I felt like the use of the word collection instead of collections, like plural, meant that they really just meant gallery, but they find gallery to be a weird word.
Yeah,
now,
yeah. I didn't think about that, actually. I think you're right, to be fair.
Yeah. Bob says, I think collection just means the cards you own, which I agree with. But Simo asks, good question. Do you think they'll add different elements to the Essence, such as positions, leagues, regions, ages, etc., so that you can tailor what you're crafting towards to suit your gallery? It's just so hard. Like, why would you? I think, I wouldn't say why would you. I would imagine that most people on the platform would want to craft a card that's as valuable as possible.
Yes.
Which means some sort of champion card.
Yes, I think so.
Like,
I think, yeah.
I don't even play champion, and I would want a champion card to sell so I could buy 17 contender cards.
Yeah, exactly. I think that would be the same. I think it'll probably end up just being the rewards pool. I almost think they might make a separate pool just for this. That's probably
a little Essence
way
pool?
bigger. Yeah.
That you can swim in?
Exactly, yeah. And just like have your mouth open and just like taste it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I'm not going to do that action again. But at
least it's not on video.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yikes. Can we delete the VOD after this? Yeah, no, that's what I think. I saw someone in the chat earlier say, do you think they'll be unsellable? Which I think would have a very interesting dynamic to it. I'd be happy for it. I would actually genuinely not mind it at all.
Not even a question. Crafted cards are going to be unsellable.
Oh, sorry.
That hasn't been announced. I think that was
just... Nico, you're right.
Yeah.
That's Nicholas right there, man. He's on his burner account.
I really don't see that happening.
No. I don't see it happening either, but I'd like it.
Unsellable NFT, interesting concept.
Hey, there's a lot of NFTs out there that are now unsellable. There's a lot of Sorare cards out there that are now unsellable.
They have blue backgrounds.
Yeah.
He just says, I don't see how it would work technically if that was anything else than the reward pool. I'm also very, very intrigued by the fact Essence did not seem to have an expiration. Does it not? Or can already see a shitstorm in summer 2025 when everyone will use their Essence that they stacked all season long to pull new season champ cards. What?
Yeah, enjoy the tier 5s, buddy. You think you're getting all that by summer 2025? Yeah, good luck.
Yeah. But like, why do we think it has no expiration date?
True. Yeah. Well, I think that would be bullshit. If they had an expiration date, though, I think that would be kind of harsh, because in reality, like, let's say you are literally one Essence box win away from a card, and you don't win any Essence for the last like 5 weeks before the expiration date. Like, that's bullshit, you know.
Win better.
But you I know, like, it's. I know you're joking, obviously. Like, you're like, but I also.
But I'm also just kind of not joking. Like,
I know you're not. It's a weird concept to me, because it's a complete lucky dip. If it was like there's anything you could do to actually win, I guess maybe that's the way you push people to buy cards. Maybe people are buying more lineups just to try and. But then, like, I don't know.
You got to the point where you were like, would people buy more cards for this? And the answer was like, maybe. And it was like, they're going to do that.
Yeah. That is exactly what happened in my head. I was like, because the counter argument, what happened in my head was I was thinking maybe people buy more cards. And I thought, well, are people really going to buy an entire team just to win one essence to craft one card? Yes. They are. So, yeah, that's exactly. They probably do put an expiration date on it, to be honest.
Yeah, it's the seasonality that becomes difficult with like champion and challenger and contender. Excuse me, because like champion has a very firm expiration date. Like the season's over, and if that's like it's easy that way. But for the others, like they keep going. So if you've accumulated all this essence because of your PSV stack, and then you want to use it to buy some Inter Miami cards in the summer, like why do you get the benefit of year-round competition?
That's true. I think it'd be fun if you could win PSV essence. And they can only make a PSV card, you know? If
like
obviously
they could do lots of fun stuff with crafted cards, account bound cards with limited number of uses, whether they should or not. I don't know, but they could. Like that.
Yeah.
You could win PSV essence.
There's a lot. Sorry, go on.
I do think it would be a benefit, I guess, if you were able to get like a card for your collection. Like if you had a certain point threshold collection, everyone with 300 points, they have a 50% chance of getting a card that they craft for their collection. And if that's the case, do you think more people would pour their essence for tier 5s and tier 4s because they know that it would help for their collection? Like I feel like that's what Sorare needs to do, is make it so that we don't just wait forever and then just use them all on stars.
I think potentially, like I remember in one of the shows last week, you were talking about a sort of burning mechanism, and I think there was a concept of just your gallery being a burning mechanism. You keep cards in your gallery, and I guess that if Sorare was smart and they could somehow create some kind of algorithm that detected whether you had a collection and you had more chance of winning a card towards that collection, I guess that also eliminates the amount of people that would just craft a card to instantly sell and just, you know, like it almost
like that's exactly why. Yeah.
Like it almost then it helps with not oversupplying, as well as, you know, people are happy that they're getting a card in their collection as well. I think you have a lot less unhappy users there as well, because, you know, if I won a star rare, if I came first place and won a star rare, I am a lot less unhappy if I win a Bruno Fernandes who might be 8 cards down in the pool than if I win someone else that's 8 cards down in the pool. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think it might be a way to keep more happy people as well.
Like I'm just thinking of like your Milan collection. And if you had the opportunity to craft a card from that collection, like you don't want to buy it, but you have this essence that you won, and they're like, yes, we'll give you, because you had, you know, whatever percent on your collection, it just helps. Like it's pretty fun to win a card that you have a collection for. It's like a piece you don't have to buy. Yeah. And it just feels like so lucky. And you're just like, oh, great. Yeah, I think that would be a fun one to do. Andy said, imagine buying a crafted Kimmich, but it's only got 1 use left. He just said you'd never be able to have enough essence if it was league and club specific.
You know what's more fun than winning a card for your collection? Winning a card and then building an entire collection around that one card. Oh yeah, I'm not kidding. I've had to battle my inner self for building a Real Salt Lake collection all weekend.
Wow.
I haven't done it. And I'm like, do I do it? No. You know what? I'm not going to do it. But like, maybe kind of. Maybe I do it a little bit.
I mean, I added 3 cards literally yesterday for a collection, and none of them even play. So I can't sit here and tell you it's a bad idea, but
I don't know if I want to, like next year, I'm like debating with myself, do I build another Manchester United collection despite already having a virtually full collection? Because then I can have in-season and classic, but then it's double the pain.
Do you want the real answer?
I think I know the real answer.
Yeah, of course you do it.
But like, you know, a boy can dream.
You absolutely do it. What are we talking about here?
Oh.
Simo said, I'll end up with a crafted Tony Cruz at the end of the
Oh no,
Mike's
that is
right.
exactly they're
The
not
RSL
wrong.
situation is exactly what Sorare want you to do.
And it doesn't help either the fact that they won their last game 5-1 because it just makes me want to build even more. But I'm trying to be, I'm trying to have some restraint.
This is
that my Milan collection. I've got a few cards left to buy that I haven't.
But like, imagine if you could just craft them.
True, very true. Like, I haven't bought Rafael Leao. I think he's off to Saudi.
Is he?
That's what I've read. I don't know if that's true or not, but like I've seen other cards. Like there's other cards there like that are new, like Simic and Terriciano. I think are new. I think Lapo Nava is new as well. Judging by the fact they're one of. Oh no, I think that's just when it's not on the market.
But yeah, like what if you could craft a Terriciano tier 4?
I've never even heard of that guy. I didn't even know he was a Milan player until I just saw him on the screen then. But yeah, like I'm down. That'd be pretty cool.
31 cards, man. Let's go.
31? What? Never seen that guy before. Oh wait, 31 including his old like Hellas Verona cards?
Nope. 31.
Wait, what? I've never seen that card before. When did he start getting minted?
Oh,
you go. There you go. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. You got about 5 or 6 Milan ones. Yeah, okay. Fair enough. That makes a lot more sense then. A lot more sense.
There you go. Sorry, I thought I saw something in the chat. But yeah, I think it's great. I love Essence.
Let's go. We've converted him.
What's so funny? I've said it the whole time. What do you mean?
Off topic, but trying to sell super rares. You know how many super rares where I've gone and like thought about buying the rare after because I've got such a connection to the card. I like don't want to let go of it.
I mean, I'm somebody who has tried to buy the rare of every super rare I have, which is a really bad idea because I have some really bad super rares.
I didn't realize how bad my super rares were until the transition period. I had like 8 really good ones, and I was smashing rare pro. Then the transition period hit, and I was just getting shit on in super rare, and I was like, reality hit.
There was a time on Sorare where I remember like just before I bought my first super rare, I was so nervous and I was like, I don't think I'll ever really buy super rares. And thanks to the Sorare economy, I have 93 of them. And I like 6 of them. Maybe 7.
Oh man. Super rares, eh? Remember when they were a good idea to buy? Back in the day.
That's the funny thing. I don't. Andy said, Ryan just brought up a great point with Team Essence. Imagine you need one more PSG Essence, but another manager has it listed on the market. You pay $5 or $10 and rarely
rare, I assume.
Sorare receive 1 to 2% of the sale. We never even talk about the fact that Essence could be sellable. I don't think it will be.
No, I don't think it will be as well. I just want it to be drinkable.
Damn it. Do you think that doing this with coins was just too boring?
No, I think I think coins are. We fucked it.
But like if they were like.
But they could have wiped it, but I think there's a negative connotation with coins already. Coins are boring as shit. We've spent game weeks and game weeks and game weeks getting our rewards, and then like, now I've got to click 8 times to get all these coins that I've won because for some reason they didn't start off just by clumping them. And if you do it on the app as well, like I had like 500 coins on the app in 5 100 increments, and it was the most irritating thing in the world, just clicking them. But I just think coins are I think coins are a lost cause, and they could have done it with coins, but again, I just think it's boring and I don't know.
Yeah. Misaki said if they did it with coins, the whales would be able to get so many. I actually meant if they just
wiped it and
got rid of them. Yeah, we're going back to 0. Nanzo, I'm sorry you didn't spend your 2 million coins, but there's 0 now. And yeah, but the negative connotation is an interesting one. Maybe we can buy essence with coins. I doubt it, to be honest.
I just think it you've got very obvious flavors there, right? Black one, cola flavored. Unique one's cola flavored because it's kind of got a purple tint.
Oh, I was gonna say it's purple though. It's not. Yeah.
It's like it's black with a purple tint because the original Unique's black, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like with a purple tint, like cola flavored, or like I guess maybe you could go with like blackberry flavored.
Ooh.
Then you got blue, is blueberry, easy. That one's pretty easy. You got red, cherry, and then you got the yellow one, which is like pineapple. Boom, or piss flavored maybe.
Pineapple feels like it's an easier sell.
Yeah, you would say that though. Your teams are named after fruit. This guy doesn't like essence, but he named all his teams after fruit. All right,
every single one of them.
Point and prove.
Just to quickly go back on the whole, like uniques are black and they kind of are purple, but we also had these.
True. What's your favorite? Just random because I need to go in a minute. What's your favorite card ever? Like card design, but also card. Like, is there a combo of this person on this card, or?
That's a great question. I always really loved the Rising Sun cards.
Yeah.
And there's definitely a Kimmich, but like I don't think there's like a single player that I can. It's a great question.
How does Rising Sun relate to the game, Laird?
It was a sponsorship. That was back when Sorare could make money with the third party.
Interesting.
Just like the somebody just brought it up with the there was something with OpenSea. The liquid, no, not Liquid Dream. Oh, the Liquid Dream ones are my favorite. Is there a Jude Liquid Dream? That might be.
I know. I think Chani has that. Oh no, he has the Musiala one. I think
he has the Musiala one. That is a really great one too.
You know, my favorite one is my Teo Hernandez.
That's a great card.
Oh, I love that card so much. Absolutely love that card. But I think like if I wasn't looking at like a special version, the 2020 to 2021 cards are probably like up there as well.
This is the one I was talking about.
Yeah, that's sensational.
Yeah.
That in limited probably looks gorgeous with the shirt as well, like the color of the shirt. But like I did that trade for Mbappe like a week ago, and that's when I got in so rare. That was like that Mbappe was the exact Mbappe I wanted. I really wanted that exact card design and everything. So it was like one of those where I was like, I finally got it. I was really excited.
Let me pull it up here. Yeah, that's a cool one. It's like a classic Mbappe. Like
exactly, so yeah. Like it's just that to me is so rare. Like I had a Verratti from the same season, and that to me is like that's a 25 grand Mbappe right there. That's
right.
Back when he was like 25 grand. So that is like fun to me. You know, that's like when Sorare was cool.
Hey Siri, what does $20,000 look like?
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Well, Haber's got to go. So do I. So thank you everybody for coming. If you could please like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Shout out to Quinny. Shout out to Essence. I love it. I'm so glad they came up with this. It's the best thing they've ever done. Can't wait to find out what it actually means.
But no, listen to Ramble as well. Fuck you guys. Like the long-time listeners know that's me saying nice things to them, but you know.
Yes.
Fuck you guys.
Go listen to Sorare Ramble. That's Haber's show. He's a third of it, but only half of it recently. Whoa, what were those?
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean that wasn't intentional. I was just like stretching my back out. But do you like my WWE belts?
Just completely unintentional trophy viewing.
They're WWE belts, Laird.
Yeah.
I'm the champ. They're real. They're not real. They're not. They're like.
Why would they not be real?
They're heavy. They're pretty good. Sorry, my office is a mess. I actually just stretching my back out, so it wasn't intentional. But I got football.
Okay. Well, thank you everybody for coming. Tomorrow we're going to talk about degenning.
Oh, let's fucking go.
Yeah, but we'll be there. Anyway, thank you everyone, and good luck out there.
Bye, guys.